Sigh of relief. You have made it to Strongly Financial.
All right.
So welcome to the show tonight. We've got topics for you. As always, I am one of your hosts, Dr. Michael A. Wright, also known as the Pivot Coach. We also have Ali Leonard.
Testing. Hello.
Hey.
All right. What am I?
Are you hearing everything?
I can't hear you.
No.
Volume's up. All right, let's take this out. I think I had this before.
You can't hear the dialogue at all? No? You can hear me now? Oh, okay. And now you're mute. There you go. There.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me now?
Now you're good.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I was just in the midst of introduction.
Oh, were you? Okay. I'm sorry.
Did you see the opener? Did you see the opener?
Yes, but I couldn't hear it though.
Video? How hot was that opener video? Did you see it?
I didn't see all of it. I couldn't hear it at all, of course, but
it's just inspirational music.
Oh, okay.
All right, but since second episode, still working out the kinks. Let's watch it again. Ready?
Okay. Yes.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. I've decided this week. I'm launching my network.
Okay. Excellent.
I'm gonna have a slate of shows. I'm gonna do my thing. Have my little network, and Pluto TV.
Yes.
I'm gonna be on Pluto in a minute.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
This time next year, I'm gonna be on Pluto.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm gonna do it. All right. So I was saying I'm Dr. Michael A. Wright. I am a life coach and more so a holistic wellness coach. Every aspect of life, you got to be healthy, including your relationships. And it starts with loving yourself. We'll talk more about that at some point. Actually, that's on the agenda for tonight. And my co-host is the incomparable Ali Leonard. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. I'm Ali Leonard, a CEO and president of Financial Services Unlimited. We are a full-service financial and credit consulting firm, with our focus being on the educational part of it, teaching people, sharing the gift, sharing the knowledge that we have acquired over the last 24 years, and excited to be here.
Perfect. And as you know, I know you got stuff to do tonight. It's Valentine's Day. So I thought rather than switching off, not having a show, I thought still have a show. And
Definitely. Yes.
We'll talk about the stuff that comes in, in terms of finances and that kind of love thing. So
gotta have it.
Broken up into 3 segments as always today. And thanks for the folks who are tuning in, folks from South Carolina. We've got our friend that has something to do with you in Dallas, Texas. But do you have you want to start us off with any thoughts about the day and the relationship with the day and the how it connects with money?
Well, I mean, with money, you really have to have it's almost like a love or hate situation. And when you talk about, this is Valentine's Day, so this is supposed to be Love Day, which to me every day is Valentine's Day.
Right. Look, you got the right person, apparently.
If you got, yeah, let's throw that in. If you got the right person, of course. But you really have to have a love for money, not in the sense of being a consumer, but the love of getting your financial business in order, to work on financial freedom. And to do that, you really have to be in love with the process. And
you're talking about that true love, that love that has in it respect and caring, concern, and order, and progress, and salvation, and saving.
All of that.
Yeah.
Yes, all of that. And you really got to look at it as a relationship, because whatever you put in is really what you're going to get out. So if I'm putting in 50% in any kind of relationship, whether it be money, whether it be my spouse, children, family, loved ones, that's what I'm going to get back in return. So you have to be committed to that.
Yeah, and you said like Financial Services Unlimited, looking at the educational aspect of the relationship of money, that financial literacy,
right,
just like you would with a partner. Or like I'm big on the latest book that I published, Love Yourself First. Your relationship with yourself, learning yourself, learning your partner, and in this case, learning money. Like you can't sit around and not know anything about money and just use it all the time and think that's going to be the perfect example of a relationship. It's not going to work as well. No. Just like it wouldn't work as well unless you knew the person.
Right. Exactly.
Well, with that, let's get into our first segment.
Okay.
And we do have a sponsor for our segment. As I I like to be transparent with this stage of our show, right? Our commercials, are not queued up yet, but I can tell you that our sponsor for this segment and the 3 segments for this episode is motivatorlifestyle.com. So motivatorlifestyle.com creates motivational themed apparel for people to wear with great slogans. One of those slogans is sponsored by, they partnered with my company, and it says on it, love yourself first, LYF, for life.
Yes.
So motivatorlifestyle.com. And with that, we'll get into our first segment.
Timely tips, self-love and financial self-care. In the Timely Tips segment of Strongly Financial, we invite you to explore the profound connection between self-love, emotional well-being, and financial self-care. Research from Sophie et al. 2023 suggests that cognitive biases, emotions, and social influences have a significant impact on our economic decision-making. Understand your true worth, establish healthy boundaries, and prioritize self-care without overspending. By honoring your own needs, you can cultivate a healthier and more balanced approach to your finances, laying the groundwork for long-term abundance. Do you find yourself spending money shopping, even grocery shopping, just to make yourself feel better? Do you have tags on clothes you purchased but never wore? Do you regularly throw out food you have allowed to spoil? Are you ready to take charge of your financial well-being and infuse it with self-love? Let's get started on your journey to financial empowerment and personal growth.
Right?
Yes. Love it.
Right?
Straight to the point. Straight to the point.
Look, for every episode in the beginning, I'm gonna be looking at your face about, because I'm saying, bro, look at what we can do. We ain't half stepping here like like we building a network.
Yes.
A network and some net worth.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
But
Ready for it.
as you heard, I think one of the big things I want to ask you about is this situation with clients, and especially in this segment, we're basically talking about loving yourself and knowing yourself, knowing kind of what your mental and emotional space is, so that you don't get into that emotional spending.
Right.
And even on a day like this, you can kind of overspend in relationships that aren't really giving you a return, but there's another way to do it. So how could I do that, Brother Ali? When I'm going into a situation, whether it's a love situation or just really, not feeling good about myself, and I have that emotional spending reaction. How can I, what's another option I can do?
Well, if you think about it, a lot of people shop emotionally. It's almost like, when you go to the grocery store, you're not supposed to go hungry or haven't eaten, because now you're going to end up buying more stuff that you did not go in there to get. So I mean, you have to have the mindset, and once again, it starts with discipline. I have to understand, where am I trying to go? Okay, if I'm trying to be financially free or debt free, or to eliminate debt that I have, I got to have a plan in order, and I have to stick to that plan. I can't waver. I can't, take a day off, when it comes to that part of it. Now, I mean, this spending plan is not supposed to be something that is, that you dread. But you have to be in a position to where I got to be able to do something that is not going to interfere with this spending plan that I basically have set up. And you can't take it personal. and you can't be an emotional spender, because that's going to cost you in the long run. But so many of us do that. Like I mentioned in the last segment, we shop when we happy, we shop when we sad, we shop when we are, depressed. A lot of us are living above our means. Yeah, this is Valentine's Day, but there are people that are going to be going out and spending $200, $300, $400 for a dinner, some drinks, some flowers, what I'm saying, just because of the date that's been set up for us to do this. And we still have bills that needs to be paid. We got credit cards that's over the limit or close to the limit. You know what I'm saying? So we're maximizing our spending limits just to enjoy one day of pleasure. And it's not even going to be the whole day, because when you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, you know what I'm saying, you're really going to dread that you really spent that unnecessary money when you have other things and other things that are in is more important. And we have to learn to prioritize this order of where I'm trying to get to. And a lot of us don't do that. We live for now, today, microwave, effects. I don't have it to spend, but I got a credit card that I'm going to put it on. And so now we're not looking at the finance charges on top of the purchase price that we paid for it. So we're going to end up paying a whole lot more, because most of us are going to just pay the minimum balance on it. And so, we got to be more conscious of what we're spending, how we're spending, and not get so caught up in these special occasion dates that society has placed on us to show love for our family, loved one, spouse, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. Just because they state that okay, this is Valentine's Day, this is Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, whatever the case may be, and we go out and spend money that we really don't have.
Yeah, it's Abby J says retail therapy is extremely expensive.
Yes, extremely.
And it is the truth.
It is.
Actually, look at me. I can put it up on the screen. That's Abby J wrote that. Because I think it's a lot of us we don't recognize the therapy that we're getting often. We go and get therapy, but we're just getting it from fast food. Or I can admit that one of my big things was grocery store. I enjoyed going to the grocery store and buying whatever I wanted and put it on a credit card.
Right.
I couldn't go out and get the Jaguar I wanted.
Right.
I was financially responsible enough not to go and get a $700 car note.
Right.
But I would go and spend $200 every 2 weeks on groceries. And I didn't really need all those cakes and pies and candy. Right? I really didn't.
Exactly.
And if you saw the pictures, you'd see exactly where they went. I've gotten into a better routine.
Right.
But I think that begins like the tips. And I want to get your feedback on these tips that I think are the tips for this segment. I think the first thing is people have to get holistically healthy. You have to get holistically healthy.
Right.
You can't pour from an empty cup, but you also can't hold on to your assets when your pocketbook has holes. Like you were saying with using the credit card and end up paying more than what it really is worth.
Exactly.
That's going to be a money pit. I like to say also make the money, use the money, but don't let the money make you useless.
Exactly.
A lot of times we start running after money and we start thinking about how we can make money, how we can spend money. But then, like you said, we're looking at how can we get things instead of how can we start to make investments. So another big tip, look toward the money as useful. you said this also, the spending plan. We're going to talk more about that in our practice segment in a second. But be intentional about your finances and make sure you have a plan for spending your money. An important tip that you always say, and I always hear you say that. So this is episode number 2. We'll see if you keep it going in every episode. It's good advice and bears repeating.
Yes.
So
you got to say it over and over.
Right? Keep know where your money is going, right? And then the last tip is manage your debt as well as your assets. And I want to give you a minute on this, because I think this is what people miss, especially keep an eye on your credit. I know you're going to bring in that piece, but people don't recognize if you have debt, you need to manage it. A lot of people just excuse it.
Right.
But I think people who even recognize it and pay on it, they don't manage it well, which means leveraging it, paying on it a certain way. What would you tell them about paying on it a certain way?
Well, I mean, when you look at debt, and later on we'll talk about the difference between good debt and bad debt. But right now we're talking about bad debt. I mean, a lot of us don't really understand how debt affects our credit scores. And a survey was done that about 65% of all Americans who have credit cards just pay the minimum balance. So if I'm paying the minimum balance, it might take me 10 years to pay off $2,000. But look at the interest that's going to be compiling to that. When I make this minimum payment, most of that is going to the profit of the finance company or the interest or the finance charges. So very little is going to our principal balance. So that is not moving at all. So, I mean, we got to understand that I have to pay more than the minimum on a credit card. But how can I do that if I'm stretched? If I don't really know where my money's going, if I'm living paycheck to paycheck. And, you know, we have to also understand that, you know, when it comes to how credit cards affect your credit scores, 30% of your overall credit score is based on your utilization rate or your balance to limits. Mm-hmm. So if I have a high credit card, for example, if I have $1,000 limit and I keep that balance over $750 or higher, which is 75% of that limit or higher, and never miss a payment, I can have a 500 credit score because the credit system is punishing me for having my balance so high. It's not giving me points, it's taking points away. So if you have 3 credit cards that's over 75% of the limit, you never miss a payment for 2 years, and you have a 580, 595, 600 credit score, it's because on each credit card, they're taking anywhere from 30 to 40 points away from you each billing cycle. Wow. So, I mean, I got 3 cards, let's say the minimum of 30 points. That's 90 points that I'm losing that I could have if I was educated or knew how the system works, so I can get my balances on a certain percentage, so I can get those scores and put me back in a better category overall. So I mean that's one of the things of taking control of this debt and not allowing it to just take control of us.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely resonates well with me. Hopefully it resonates with the audience as well. We are streaming not only on the Facebook Live Learning Financial Literacy, Stock Investing, and Wealth Creation by Mall Media Group. We're also streaming on the FSU Facebook page as well. That live will be saved there. And our third platform tonight is YouTube.
Oh, perfect.
It's on my YouTube channel.
Excellent.
So you'll see that once we end up here. All right. And with that, we're going to go into segment 2. Just before we go into segment 2, our sponsor is motivatorlifestyle.com. And I have the t-shirt that I was just talking about, one of them. an example of the t-shirt. Love yourself first.
Oh, excellent.
On the front.
Excellent.
And then on the back, it has a saying, which we can talk about at some point. But with that, we'll get into segment 2, brother.
Let's do it.
Best practices. Building a love-focused spending plan. Did you know that partners who share similar financial values are more likely to have successful and satisfying relationships? LeBaron Black et al. 2023. In this segment, we'll guide you through the process of building a love-focused spending plan to strengthen your relationships and financial stability. Communication is key, so we'll explain the importance of open dialogue with your partner. By setting shared goals and allocating resources effectively, you can create meaningful experiences that deepen your bond while still prioritizing your financial health. Embracing the power of financial harmony will help you lay a stronger foundation for both your relationship and long-term financial success. Consider the importance of open communication with your partner, setting shared goals, and allocating resources effectively for date nights, gifts, and memorable experiences. Are you ready to create stronger relationships and financial stability through a love-focused spending plan? Start by reflecting on your values and taking this important step towards a more fulfilling and financially secure future.
Thank you, Bart. That's Bartholomew.
Hey, Bart, doing it, man. Bart is doing it.
I'm tickled. I'm tickled. I just it's funny to me. Anyway, yeah, Bart doing his thing. Anyway, we're talking. Bart was talking about, I think, this important thing, especially today. You kind of alluded to it, Valentine's Day, and these, honestly made up holidays that are real retail opportunities. I mean, it moves the economy forward. That's what it's supposed to do, especially during the slower months. That's why Christmas has so many big holidays, because it's winter time in a lot of the country, not Southern California for me, but anyway. But it's a time where you got to move the economy forward. And so spacing these throughout the year gives the economy a chance to really gain some money. I mean, I was out today and I saw all of the commerce going on, flowers being sold from every corner. I mean, florists that I didn't even know existed popped up everywhere. Every grocery store has a whole section when they may not have had one before. It looks like, and this is LA. So 2 things about LA, beyond the traffic and the fact that there's just way too many people here. Entrepreneurship is huge. People will sell whatever.
Right.
Think a Hustle Man or Barbershop, when the guy comes in selling bootleg CDs. It's all for sale. So you got these big balloons filled with stuffed animals, everything, roses, everything you want. The big thing for me, and I know this we share this view, the mindset begins with the values, especially in the couple. And I know you do a lot of work with couples and helping them to get their finances together. Speak on the importance of shared values, like if y'all value holidays, and if you're going to spend, do you set limits, you think, on what you spend, or is there some other mechanisms of how we share our values and put that into practice?
Well, first of all, 50% of all marriages in divorce in the first 5 years. And the main number one reason for that is finances. So if we're not on the same page financially, and our goals are not the same. You might have one individual that's spending more than they should, when another is trying to save and build, and you can't get there from there. You have to all be on the same page. And if you're into these pagan holidays, you need to set limits on what is going to be spent for this special occasion. But you really have to make sure that you're communicating, and not doing so much behind the other person's back. Hiding clothes in the trunk because you've been shopping and you don't want to bring them in the house. That's one of the big things my mother, did with my stepfather. She was spending, but she wouldn't bring it in the house, sneaking it in, put it in the back of the closet. That's the problem. And if we're trying to reach a certain goal, if we're trying to eliminate debt, then we got to be on the same page.
Right.
If you're not on the same page, it's not going to work. I mean, I don't care how much you talk about it, but it's not about you talking, it's about your actions. And it does take discipline, you know what I'm saying, and sacrifice. Now, I mean, a spending plan does not mean that you cannot do anything enjoyable in life, because you can. You just have to plan for it. You just have to budget for it. You need to save for it. And we can't be so quick to pull out a credit card, especially if we cannot afford to keep this balance under 10% or pay it off every month so that the finance charges would not accumulate actually for you. But most of us, don't do that. We spend money that we don't have, and it puts us into a situation to where it's stressful. Being in a financial crisis is stressful. So not only does that affect your body and your health, but it affects your relationship.
Definitely.
So now you're arguing now, you're fussing more. I mean, every little thing triggers something, and it's because that, first of all, you guys are not in alignment together. You don't have the same goals that you're trying to accomplish, and it's going to affect your relationship, period. I don't care how much you think you know or love this person. Money has a tendency sometimes to overrule love, especially when it becomes very stressful in day to day.
Yeah, and if you don't know what the values of the other person are, or what they are and they're conflicting
right
with the goals.
Right, exactly.
I think that's in the last segment, the teachable moment. We're actually going to talk about specifically that difference between men and women, because they actually are different. But for this segment, I remember this video I saw where the man was in the front of the boat and he's bailing out the water, and the woman's in the back of the boat putting water in the boat,
right,
in the canoe, right? That's just the visualization of what you're talking about.
Yes.
If we're not on the same page, this boat is going to sink,
right? Because
it's tiring, it's stressful to always be trying to bail it out, and nothing really working.
Exactly.
So the exercise for this segment, I think, is exactly the spending plan. But even before the spending plan, or as you're working on the spending plan, really looking at putting together that set of values and talking with one another, hopefully before y'all get married. And this is marriage counseling 101, right? It's talking about money. But then I think there's a specific thing, a specific kind of way to do it. Talking about values, I say talk about making the money, your philosophy on saving money. Investing is different than saving.
Yes.
And how you're going to spend your money. That's that spending plan.
Right.
And how you're going to pay the bills and that type of thing. And like I always say, make sure you budget for your fun too. Don't make it all, like you said earlier, Don't
Right.
make it all, hard and heavy and it's just for the bills. I met a guy the other day who said, nah, she don't have a wedding ring. We couldn't afford that. And all the women who were around were like, what? That's not the way. And they just jumped on him so bad, so bad. To where I didn't agree with him, but I had to come to his defense.
Right.
Because the thing is, he's been married 7 years. He's got 3 kids. Him and his wife are happy. And here's the point. He said to her, would you rather have a ring on your finger or drive that truck you want? And she said to him, I want the truck. So what he did, instead of buying her a ring, he put that down payment on the truck so they could pay that monthly fee,
Right.
the finance fee. It was so they could really get into that truck. So she's driving around her wedding ring.
Right. Exactly.
And
exactly.
of course, the women in the group, they said, okay, she driving around her. No, she's not driving around her wedding ring. She's driving around a truck, and you need to go get her a wedding ring. but what I'm illustrating is a difference in values. They had different values than he and his wife had. Thankfully, he and his wife shared their values, and they gonna be all right, even though the other ladies were not having it.
Right. Exactly.
They wouldn't go along with that at all.
Let me add something on some stats on the spending plan. And I'm talking about all Americans, not just African Americans. I mean, we have a different stat, of course, but 38% of all Americans spend about what they make as far as income, or equal to their income. 38%, which is almost 40%. Another 20% spends more than their income. So that's 60% of individuals that are either spending equal to their income or more than that income. So where's the other material things that they are trying to acquire that they want? It's on credit, which now you have to add finance charges. If you're already spending, you're not saving, you're not retaining, and you're not investing. So you're paying the minimum. So everything that I'm earning, I'm spending on stuff that doesn't bring me any value. The other stuff I want to go and get that I can't afford with my paycheck, I use credit to go and get it. So now I got more debt that's going to be accumulated with that. And so, when you look at African Americans and our communities, you're going to add anywhere from 10 to 15% more to that stat. So 60%, now you're looking at 75% of us spend equal to our income. So instead of 40%, now you're looking at 55% of us spend over the income that we have. So, how can I reach this goal that I'm trying to achieve if first, I don't know where my money's going. Secondly, I'm spending all that I make. And most of the time, it's not going to be on stuff that's going to bring you any value. And then 20% spending over what they make. How can I eliminate debt? How can I focus on this financial spending plan to help get me out of debt? And how can I maximize my credit scores that's going to keep me getting the lowest interest rates available for anybody who has 720 or above? You're going to be in a different category. So it's going to be very difficult for you to get out of this rat race or this hole that you dig yourself in without a spending plan. It's very difficult for that because most of us don't increase our income. We on a job that's paying whatever the amount, and I get 3% raise or 2% raise once a year. but my spending is still increasing. How can I get out of this ditch? Unless I'm focusing on spending less on things that don't bring me any value.
Definitely. Wow. Okay. Thank you for that.
And we don't understand. I mean, it's really major. It's really major. It's major for real.
Look, I'm having a moment. I need to go back and check my spending plan.
Right. I mean, we all need to do that part of it.
Right. All
but
right.
I mean, once again, and then I'll finish with this so we can get to the next segment. It still goes back to the mindset. I gotta change my mindset. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So if I'm continuing to spend, and I'm expecting for my debt to go down, I'm insane, because it's not going to happen that way.
It's not going to happen. Yep.
No, sir.
I think we're going to hit that in our last segment. Let's get into that. I think we're also going to get in trouble. At least I will. I'll say you can blame it all on me. We're going to talk a little bit about the difference between men and women as well. So Bart, take it away.
Teachable moment, satisfaction and consonance. In the teachable moment segment, we have an opportunity for your self-reflection and growth. In a study by Saxi et al. 2023, it was found that effective communication in relationships is not solely dependent on verbal exchanges. For husbands, satisfaction in the marriage plays a significant role in their communication skills. On the other hand, women's financial behaviors aligning with the shared values of the couple enhances their ability to communicate effectively. That means that men communicate better when they are satisfied. Women communicate better when they feel consonant, when they are living up to the values they agreed to in the relationship. Remember, you hold the key to unlocking your potential and creating meaningful change in your life. By aligning your values and aiming for partner satisfaction and consonance, you can truly put your money where your mouth is. Are you ready to embrace this lesson and forge a path towards financial empowerment and harmonious relationships?
I think we are. I think we're ready to put our money where our mouth is.
I like Bart.
I'm trying not to get tickled again. I love that part. Like that's my favorite part of what this is like having that little guy come in and introduce the segment. So anyway, yes. I get that's just way too much fun for me. Right. But so the teachable moment is this time to kind of take this inward and see. So we've talked about a couple of things. We've talked about really loving yourself on Valentine's Day, and loving yourself not meaning you go out and spend money on what makes you happy, but you get holistically healthy so that it's not about trying to make yourself healthy with money. We've talked about how you share those values with a partner and have those tough conversations about how that money works. And then the last thing is really this I think it's important to talk about this difference. One of the differences between men and women, especially in relationships, this idea, as Bart was saying, that women, when you do establish those values, women are going to be happier and more comfortable with communicating about money if the values line up, and specifically them doing what they say they're going to do, but also it's the interaction. You know, you doing what you say you're going to do as the male in the relationship, or whatever construct of that family unit you've got. The consonants that's what for women the study was saying. Men, if they're generally happy, if they're satisfied with the relationship, and so I'm sure were telling on some folks earlier, some of your your clients, your stepmom, you've seen where the men are not happy for a lot of different reasons. One of those might be the money and how much
Right.
the spouse is spending, or it might be some other things about, what's going on in the relationship. But that's where you're able to have the conversation. Or, like you said earlier, 50% of marriages, first 5 years, they're gone because they don't have a foundation
Right.
of communication. And that foundation of communication starts with, for the woman, these values being agreed upon and followed through on. And for the man, the very ability to be in a healthy, peaceful relationship makes it possible that communication keeps going.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, and just to add to that, the first thing that has to be done, there has to be a mutual agreement on the values for both parties. Okay, this is what I expect. This is what she expects, and we're coming to the table to discuss how we can combine these values to reach our goals as one. I mean, basically, when you get into a marriage, especially in a marriage, and not the boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance. I mean, that part is important as well. But when you're starting to dive into two individuals that are coming to the table to look at ways that they can elevate not only their finances but their relationship. If the finance is not there, that's going to be some strain on the relationship. Period. Let's not sugarcoat that. Let's not think love can't pay your bills. I mean, you can be happy and broke, but at some point in time, that happiness is going to kind of fade away. So we have to be on the same page. And then once these values are put in this agreement, they have to be kept. Now, there's going to be some time where somebody's going to fall short, true enough. But you got to be open to that. And each party has to be understanding and not just jump on somebody's neck or their throat because, okay, you spent $100 over what you were supposed to spend. I mean, it's going to be some times when it happens. And I mean, you have to understand that 70% of individuals in this country don't budget. You know what I'm saying? So they don't have a spending plan. So this is something new for them, and
Yeah.
all of my clients, well, some of them don't do it, but a spending plan is actually put together to assist them because majority of them don't really know where their money's going. They have an idea, the rent, the light, the car, no car insurance. I mean, those are the basic, necessities, but they don't really understand how much they're spending in other areas of their lives that could be going toward, some debt to eliminate.
That's one of the big things with when I work with clients, because I charge $150 an hour for my engagement with clients. And I always, and I'm glad I have this platform to say this out loud to more people. Right. If you think that you can't pay me $150 an hour, you need to schedule an appointment with me. I'll do it for free because I'm going to show you that you can pay me. And all I'm talking about doing is creating a spending plan.
That's it.
Because I mean, and I've done it for clients. Literally, I famously said to one client, you think you can't pay me, so come, let's do a session. I said, do you know you have $1,000 extra every month above your bills?
Right.
And she was, no, Dr. Wright, you playing? I said, no, it's math. We're talking about math right here.
Right.
And so I said, do this for me. And that's what you're talking about. I think it was earlier you said the word discipline. it's going to take some discipline.
Yes.
And that's to my point that I put up on the screen. Create the truth, because it's not just about the math. It's like you said, the mindset that you're bringing into it, and how you engage with your partner, if that's a partner situation, or how you engage by yourself with that truth about how this money is spent. We found that $1,000 because I said, okay, we're going to enact a spending plan, a basic spending plan. And I think you'll agree with this, Ali, but tell me how you do it with your clients. Basically, all I said was pay your bills, all of them. And the funny thing was, she was not paying bills because she felt like she didn't have the money to pay them. I said, nope, split up your paychecks, split up your bills, because your paychecks are already split up. Figure out which ones you're going to pay and when. Pay all your bills. And I want you to keep your debit card in your pocket. Every pay period, all I want you to take in your hand is $100. And no credit cards, no debit cards. That $100 is all you get to spend for that 2 weeks. The first month, at the end of the month, she had $100 in her pocket and still money in the bank. Second month, she had $250 in her pocket and still money in the bank. The third month, they needed tires. Her and her husband needed new tires. She took the $300 cash from her pocket and paid for the tires. No credit card.
Right.
You see what's going on? The spending plan, all it did is what you were just saying. It helped her see the truth of where her money was going. And by the way, she also, during that period, it wasn't the money that you would expect, because she was spending out of that cash. She was buying her lattes. She was buying her occasional lunch, or taking her daughter out for ice cream. She was doing it, but she was doing it from the money that she had, the cash that she had. And so that spending plan freed her up. She saw that $1,000, and she was able to continue to do some of the projects with me, because now she could pay.
All right, let me share an example of one of my clients that we dealt with. She was in a profession where she made six figures. And she probably made these six figures for over 10 years. She's been in her area, and she was a nurse, okay? So she's been in the field for 20 years, probably the last 10 of it, six figures easily. She had 21 credit cards. She had about $25,000 in credit card debt. She had charge-offs, collections, stuff that she didn't pay that was negative on her credit report. And once she came to the program, of course, we started addressing this stuff on her credit. But for me, my first attention was her finances, because she made enough money.
Exactly.
So we put her on a budget, which she didn't really like at first.
No.
And after 3 months, she had $10,000 saved. In 3 months. In 6 months, she had about $15,000 to $17,000 saved, but her debt was reduced to more than half. So she had a savings of $17,000, and her debt went from $25,000 down to about $10,000. But she didn't realize that she had this money available to her. She was living paycheck to paycheck. But one of the issues that had to be addressed was the credit cards. You have a spending problem. And we don't always recognize what that problem is unless somebody on the outside kind of sees it, because to us it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But once that was fixed, out of the 21 credit cards that she brought to the office, I took a picture of them. I still have them. I think we shredded 21. We shredded 18 of them. She was able to keep 3.
Mm. Nice.
But
Nice.
why do you need 21 credit cards? That's
Right.
that's going to allow you to spend above your income.
Yeah.
And the finance charges, I mean, you couldn't afford to pay all these bills, so they went into a collection of negative or a negative status. So they don't really understand how much they have. They're always going to say, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. But when you look at the kind of money that you're blowing and spending on unnecessary things, you do have the money.
Yeah.
You just got to be disciplined, and then you're going to have to sacrifice this emotional attachment to shopping, because it's not an emotional attachment to money, because if it was, you would do a whole lot better with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
And that's
we're not.
and that's definitely, that's what I mean by getting that truth out there and getting it out on paper.
You
And
gotta
then
get the truth out there.
and then in the vein of a teachable moment, a thought exercise for people, once you get those truths, just like this lady did in your example, I think a good way to, especially if you don't have a mentor like one of us or a coach, you want to start to look for a coach, and
Right.
you can sign up with one of us, of course.
Of
But
course.
even before you get to that, put these as aphorisms. I learned this word. So people have these affirmations, but then there's something called an aphorism as well. And I say make an aphorism about money, relationships, self-worth, and your spending intentions. And I'm gonna give you some examples real quick as we get to the end of our show. For money, how about this one, Ali? I see money as a tool for my empowerment, not a measure of my worth. I shift my mindset from scarcity to abundance, using money as a catalyst to create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Right? Hang that one up on your wall.
Man, hang that up, baby. Hang that up.
Right. For relationships, I
Yes.
nurture my relationships with open communication, trust, and shared values. I recognize that true wealth lies in the richness of connections and the support I give and receive. Yes,
Hey,
not
another
just
good
in the
one.
money,
Yes, yes.
not just in the things, but in the relationships. For self-worth, my worth is not defined by external markers of success or material possessions. I embrace my unique gifts, talents, and experiences. I acknowledge that my inherent value lies within me.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
And
all 3 of them is excellent. Those are excellent.
right?
Yes.
And it's that being instead of the doing and all that stuff. And then the last one, I align my spending with my values and priorities. I adopt a mindful approach to spending plan, right? Distinguishing between wants and needs. I prioritize experiences. Oh, that's a good one. Experiences over possession.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes. And that's another problem that we have with the wants and the needs. We want a lot of stuff. We don't need as much stuff as we want, but we want it. You know what I'm saying? And it gets us into trouble as well. So we gotta, distinguish about wants and needs, and work towards this spending plan so I can get some of the wants. Not every paycheck you can't get what you want. It ain't gonna work. It is not going to work. And then a person who has a very little self-image or self-worth, they have a tendency to spend emotionally as well, because they're unhappy with who they feel that they are, or who society is casting them that they should be or not be. And they go on these shopping sprees just to make them feel, worthy. And it's not about the outside world, like you just stated. It's about the inner being and who you are and who you were created to be. That's more valuable than the money. It's a lot of millionaires that are unhappy as hell, Excuse my French.
Yeah.
So it's not all about the money. Money puts you in a position to do things and create things. But a person who does not have the financial literacy or the money mindset, the more they make, the more they spend.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandma said it well. All right, man. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Appreciation to my co-host.
Man, it's over already?
It's over already.
Man, time flies when you're having fun, bro. I'm telling you. Yes.
All right. Signing off. I'll talk to you later, bro.
Okay. Appreciate you.
Bye.